there was some chatter on social media about a tweet that came from what appears to be your account back in January, in which whoever tweeted it made what many would consider to be offensive remarks about the Vice President of the United States. I have to ask you, was that your actual account, and was that a tweet from you? And if so, what do you have to say about that?
I haven't seen anything about it, haven't been told about it.
Reed, likely feeling the heat, took the road of a non-answer when questioned by Outside the Lines' John Barr.
I don't know what's going on out there. I'm more concerned with Richie and what's going on with us and this great horse and how much he's helping everybody. So, there's haters out there, and that's about how I'm going to leave something like that.
The tweet in question was when former Trump official Sebastian Gorka wrote, "So what exactly are Kamala Harris's qualifications?" It is alleged that Reed may have replied, "Heard she's good on her knees." In that ESPN interview, one Twitter user noted this picture of the insurrectionist white supremacist president behind Reed on his wall. The Daddy Rabbit 1964 Twitter account is currently private. The bio on the account says, horse trainer and Reagan conservative, fantasy football fanatic, owner of Mercury Equine Center. That center is the home track of Rich Strike. Now, of course, as it is their calling card, a network that prompted up and defended a man who tried to cancel democracy supports headlines like these. ESPN tries to cancel Rich Strike's trainer over months-old tweet about Kamala Harris, with the opening line being, ESPN couldn't make the Kentucky Derby about race, so they switched to politics. I have two thoughts on this. The first, Donald Trump attended the Kentucky Derby to grift money out of his supporters. He is quite literally using the sport as a vehicle for his own political gain. So if I may, cut the crap on this one. How short-sighted are you? Because executives at Churchill Downs were caught off guard by Trumpito's $75,000 per person fundraiser hosted by his super PAC. Trump's Derby guest list was not public, but the hosts were said to include Pam Bondi, the former Florida AG, Richard Grenell, the former acting director of national intelligence, Matthew Whitaker, the former acting AG, and Kimberly Guilfoyle, a TV personality who's engaged to Trump's son. Canucks team president Jim Rutherford, seen here, bungled this completely. In turn, he hired Rick Tocchet as the new head coach, sending Boudreau off into retirement. Tocchet, seen on the left, has quite a history. Here he is pictured working as a studio analyst for TNT, though. Now here's the thing. Awful announcing linked to one Twitter user that uncovered some of the coach's Twitter likes. He liked a tweet that references Miley Cyrus and porn. They get less hilarious, but that one's just... so stupid. Okay. The second was a Kirstie Alley tweet on why Donald Trump is that'll sober you up. Is the perfect candidate to not stage an insurrection. Oh, that would have been bad. An insurrection, but lead the states. Here's what troubles me. He liked grifting plagiarizer Benny Johnson of Turning Point USA, of Toilet Paper USA, where they would go after the boogeyman of wokeness and CRT, which is a complete dog whistle to right-wing politics these days. He liked Jillian Barberi's tweet, which read, "Our president raw-dogged a porn star while his wife was nursing. Stormy Daniels," whom is hilarious, by the way, don't you ever give it second thought. Imagine a married woman effing a male porn star, then becoming president. Republican heads would explode. Wait, is he... There's no way. He had to have misread that. He interacted with a TMZ tweet about Jimmy G dating a porn star. Then he... Oh, my God. I mean, you see it. I don't know. I don't have to read it. What's the point of reading it? In turn, of course, he would nuke his Twitter. Of course. Well, one user, however, would have a lot of fun with it, as of course everyone else should. Oof. Andrew Buchholz would add, there's also been some criticism for his past. That includes the 2006 Operation Slapshot uncovering of his involvement in an illegal gambling ring in New Jersey. Wow. That led to him eventually taking a plea deal, pleading guilty to promoting gambling and conspiracy to promote gambling and getting sentenced to 2 years probation. Hang on. So you're telling me these leagues are going after anybody and their mamas that are in the sport? Calvin Ridley, he says it was a small bet. Suspended for a year for gambling on sports. And yet this guy is welcome back? This reeks of hypocrisy. If some coach, no matter how, former NHL guy, let's say, no matter how likable they are, were to have this on their rap sheet, there is no way in hell that person should get a head coaching role, let alone be the equipment manager, because then it goes into a conflict of interest. I understand he took a plea deal. I understand, the 2 years probation is up, what have you. I'm very conflicted. In sports, we have seen breakthroughs with Jason Collins in the NBA, Carl Nassib, formerly of the Raiders and currently with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Prior to him, Michael Sam as a draftee of the Rams. U.S. women's soccer star Megan Rapinoe and her partner, WNBA legend Sue Bird. In the UFC, Amanda Nunes, Raquel Pennington, and Tisha Torres, to name a few, are in the LGBTQ+ community. Yet under Dana White's watch as president, he has used an anti-gay slur to go after a journalist, with which he would apologize. White, of course, has aligned himself with modern-day republicanism, a majority of whom do not believe in LGBTQ+ rights. Andrei Arlovsky, with 34 wins to his name, would use the same anti-gay slur White used in a post-fight press conference. Liverpool's Darren Till, who has lost 5 of his last 6 fights, made transphobic jokes on his Twitter account. When facing heat for it, Till doubled down. UFC Prez White liked it and wrote "truth" underneath it, clearly not learning from his mistakes. Cowboy Donald Cerrone and Ireland's Conor McGregor would follow suit as well, using the anti-gay slur uttered by White and Arlovsky, as would McGregor rival Nate Diaz. He would be suspended for it. Then there's UFC fighter Sean Strickland. When asked if he would rather have a gay son or a thought daughter, he responded with, as Out.com puts it, good old-fashioned homophobia. You can see the tweet here. He then went on to say how he actually supports gay men and how the gays have it made because they are happy and get to have sex with their buddies all day, while straight men have to do some serious work to get laid. Instead of apologizing after his tweets rightfully upset some folks online, Strickland doubled down on the homophobia, saying his tweets were just a joke, while also managing to mock pronouns, and accused those offended by his statements as being beta males. The latest comes from this man, Nate Marquardt, a former fighter in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Long and short, when he saw 2 men kissing, he called the commercial disgusting and claimed he had to turn his son away from the screen. When he faced backlash, he conducted a typical pivot. After defending himself in subsequent tweets, he wrote he was standing up against evil in the media. What followed was this. He would pair together gay rights with pedophilia in another tweet, then quote the Bible as a defense and invoke propaganda. After the publication of this story, Marquardt dug his heels in to defend his stance and cited the Bible. Then he took it a step further and replied to a Twitter user to say gay people are all disgusting, and per his interpretation of the Bible, are sinners worthy of death. He later said homosexuality is destructive to society. Marquardt's MMA career are like his tweets. Disappointing. Really, really disappointing. He was found to have taken a banned substance while he was competing, which resulted in a suspension by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. He was knocked out in the first round by Anderson Silva. After his release in 2011, it was learned he couldn't pass a physical the day before his scheduled fight because of elevated T levels. Disappointment.